Leadership starts with initiative. Forget about 10 years. I'm giving you right now 10 seconds to come here and sing a couple of lines.
Okay. Hi, I'm Purvi Arya, and I'm going to be singing one stanza from a small bhajan. As I know all of you all are not really interested in classical music, but it's going to be just a small stanza. ओ झिनी झिनी अचरवा के पार गोरिया, झिनी झिनी अचरवा के पार गोरिया, जम के चंदा जम के चंदा जम के चंदा संखड़ा तो हाथ गोरिया, झिनी झिनी अचरवा के पार गोरिया, रूप इतना सजा के गुजरिया न जा, रूप इतना सजा के गुजरिया न जा, माथे बिंदिया लगा के गुजरिया न जा, माथे बिंदिया लगा के गुजरिया न जा, जान गई गई हो जान गई गई हो जान गई गई हो, लुकवा हजार गोरिया, झिनी झिनी अचरवा के पार गोरिया, झिनी झिनी हो झिनी झिनी हो झिनी झिनी अचरवा के पार गोरिया.
Fantastic. That was a brilliant performance by her, and I think you should consider resetting your goal. It's not 20 years, you're already a fantastic singer. Okay. Carrying on with some more questions. Alright. I have one very, very important question now. Last from my side, then I'll invite my co-trainer, Dr. Gauri Joshi. And this question is going to determine your level of happiness. Okay? It's again a very simple question, and here I would also like to ask the same question to our chief guest here, okay, Dr. Karuna ma'am, and as well as Sucheta Dalal ma'am. They would also be giving their answers. It's a very simple but important question. They are examples of leaders sitting in front of you, and you will come to know why with this particular question that I am going to ask you. Imagine that I have given you two papers, two sheets of papers, alright? On one paper, I ask you to make a list of things that God has not given you in life. Things that God has not given you in life. I am sure that one single sheet of paper will be insufficient. You will require pages after pages, correct? We always crib, we always tell our parents, we tell our friends, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have anything. Okay? And on the other side, the other paper, if I ask you to make a list of things that God has given to you, the things that God has given to you, tell me out of these two lists, things that you don't have and things that you have, which is the better list? Things that you have, which means things that God has gifted you. Alright? That is a more important list than the things that we do not have. So as a leader, as a young person, always focus positively on what you have instead of thinking about what you don't have. And here I would like to ask this same question to our chief guests, and I would like them to share one list of the things that God has given to them, the things that God has gifted to them, because of which they are sitting here as leaders, giving you a lot of inspiration. Alright? So ma'am, first starting with Dr. Karuna and then Sucheta Dalal ma'am, I would request you to share a few things, okay, from the...
Never came to my mind that I don't have anything. We always were happy with whatever we had, and we wanted to make use of that more effectively. And I always pray every day to God, and whatever you have given me, I should remain humble. And whatever you give me courage to stand by it. So I don't have a list on either side. And this is how I pray every morning that let me be human in spite of what all I have. And whatever you give, which sometimes maybe you don't take it in a good spirit, give me courage to take it.
Well, my answer is a little different. I wish I had the confidence that you all have at your age to be so clear about what you want to be. We didn't have that confidence at our age. Maybe some did, I didn't. Okay? But if you ask me about a list of what I have and what I don't have, yeah, we weren't very aware of what we had, which is to get aware of what you have, which you take for granted only when you're older, which is the kind of background you've come from, the fact that you were encouraged to read so much and that you had the ability to understand and pursue whatever you wanted to do. And the biggest that we had, which again I said we understood later, is the freedom to choose our own path. I think mine is the generation which, like Dr. Karuna, we had to fight for something as basic as, do you do the things that the boys did or you don't? I had a little kid brother, and like her, my mother was different. She said, you need to know everything that girls do, so you learn to cook and you know how to stitch, and you should know what the guys do, because otherwise you can't go ahead in the world. So you knew how to cycle, you knew how to fix the bulb, you knew how to go and buy vegetables, because she would push you to do it or you can't succeed. And these are the big things that I have when I look back. The fact that we had parents enlightened enough to push it. What I didn't have, I'm surprised that you say that you don't have a list like that. I had a long list of what I didn't have. For instance, I came from a small town and I was very sure I wanted to go to a big city. And one just worked at it and did it. That was the single biggest thing that I wanted to do, not become a journalist. I wanted to get out of a small town because I knew that the things that I wanted to do were not going to happen over there. And you sort of make it happen. So was there a strong don't have list? Yes, that was the single biggest thing sitting on the don't have list. And the point was then one changed it.
Thank you so much for sharing these important things in life. And we need to remember that we need to stick with what are the things that we have instead of looking at the big list of the things that I don't have. Alright, so that's it from my side. Now I'll invite my co-trainer, Dr. Gauri, to come here and share her views. Thank you so much.
It is really a privilege, a pleasure, an honor, and a delightful experience to feel like a kid sitting amongst young generation of today. Thank you very much for sharing your precious moments and your precious time with all of us. We have the last 10 to 15 minutes before we close for the day, and let's make the fullest attempt to make the best use of this time, the best use of the resource people who are with us. Having heard and having listened carefully to what leadership is all about, and gracefully accepting and acknowledging the fact that yes, my dear friends, all of you indeed in your own pocket of greatness, in your own spheres of influence, in your own little worlds, are already good leaders. Aren't you all good leaders? Are you all good leaders? You all are not good leaders already? You all want to become better leaders? Yes. Great. Okay. Jim Collins talks of from good to great. So I move with the premise, I move with the stand, I move with the belief that you all already are good leaders. What we want to do is become better leaders, to become great leaders. One very important thing that leaders do, how many of you all have mobile phones? Okay. Does your mobile phone work 24/7 without charging it? No. So what you need to do is you need to go back home and you need to plug it into a charger and you need to switch it on and make sure that your battery is fully charged. Don't you do that? Surely. So the way we charge up our mobile phones so that the battery doesn't conk off, the battery doesn't go dead in the middle of an important conversation, you also need to charge yourselves up as good leaders so that you have great energy to continue your tasks, to aspire, to dream, to follow your dreams and to do all that you want to do. So I'm going to invite or I'm going to request our two resource people, our two chief guests, Dr. Karuna ma'am and Sucheta Dalal ma'am, to talk about in their own way how they recharge their batteries. In other words, as great leaders, how do they make sure that they remain motivated all the time? What happens if suddenly one becomes demotivated for some reason? Do you all understand about motivation? Yeah? Motivation is the energy, it is the enthusiasm. As one young friend sitting there stood up and said, passion. We still don't know what, passion for what, but yeah, there was that energy, there was that enthusiasm, that positivity, that passion that you spoke of. So how do you motivate yourself? How do you build that energy? If things go wrong, if you are demotivated, how do you motivate yourself? How do you pep yourself up? How do you recharge your battery to bounce back to life, to come back to normal life? So we will have a quick sharing of how do you motivate yourself if at all you feel demotivated. And then we'll have some sharing from your side. If things go wrong, if sometimes you feel demotivated, what do you do to motivate yourself? Different people do different kinds of things. Somebody likes to listen to songs. How many of you all listen to music, listen to songs? Oh, all of you are music lovers. So some of you will listen to songs, some of you may dance, some of you all like to dance or sing, some of you all like to dance. How many of you all like to go for movies or watch movies? Oh, lots of you. And how many of you all like to play computer games? How many of you all have membership on social networking sites like Orkut, Facebook, Drive, Wi-Fi? So these are the kind of things you do to sometimes distract yourself. You go online, you chat up, you use SMSs or jokes, shairis, singing. You do all kinds of things to pep yourself. Let us find out from these great eminent personalities sitting with us, what is it that they do to recharge themselves, to pep themselves, to motivate themselves, to make sure that as great leaders, they need to have that high energy and enthusiasm level all the time. And then, my dear friends, I will be asking you all, what is it that you do to pep yourself up and to get going and to keep yourself motivated all the time as good leaders? Yes, ma'am, over to you.
Yeah. Anything which you do by heart, you never get demotivated. And I have various ways of motivating myself. I set up targets, those targets which are visible. And one thing which I found very unique about me, which I learned from last 3 years, that once a problem is posed to me, I'm restless till I find answer. And then my restlessness gives me the motivation to continue. But like you, I really do some kind of de-stressing, and some of the most wonderful de-stressing is to go shopping. Okay? Which is very unusual for academics to do that. I care about everything. I may buy something or I may do window shopping. But that's the most nice de-stressor for me. When I'm stressed, I actually call up my husband and say, why don't we meet in some mall, and then I go there 1 hour, come and liven back to my home. Okay, that's what I do.
Well, unlike her, I do get demotivated often enough, and doing investigative journalism is tough. You think you've got a good story, somebody slaps you with a show cause notice or a defamation notice, it's quite demotivating. But yes, you have to often pull yourself up from there really hard because you can't continue doing what you do unless you do it. And there are two things that work for me. One is, of course, I just